All right, let's dive into something really profound today. From the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18. We're going to explore this incredible idea that Krishna presents, how your everyday work, whatever it is you do, can actually be a direct path to total spiritual freedom. So, can your daily grind really lead to ultimate freedom? I mean, that's the big question, right? And it's the one Krishna puts to Arjuna the warrior, right in the middle of a battlefield, of all places. It sounds kind of impossible, doesn't it? But Krishna's answer is, well, it's a total game changer for how you can find something sacred in your everyday life. So, where do we even start? Krishna's path to freedom doesn't begin with these huge dramatic gestures like renouncing the world or anything like that. Nope. It starts with something much, much closer to home. Basically, figuring out and embracing our own unique place in the world. Okay, so at the very heart of this teaching is this incredible concept called Svadharma. Now, Svadharma is your own natural duty, your work. But here's the key. It's not about your job title or your social status. Not at all. It's determined by your gunas, your inherent natural qualities. Just think of it like this. It's the work that perfectly aligns with your own unique vibe, your temperament. It's the path of least resistance because it flows from who you really are. And Krishna lays out these four general categories based on these natural qualities. You've got the Brahmanas, who are naturally inclined toward knowledge and serenity. Then there are the Kshatriyas, like Arjuna himself. They're the natural leaders, the protectors, the Vaishyas. They excel in things like business and agriculture. And the Shudras, their strength is in service. But look, it's so important to get this right. This isn't about some rigid hereditary caste system, not in this context. The whole point here is creating a harmonious society where everyone contributes based on what they're naturally good at. It's about societal harmony, not social hierarchy. All right, so you found your Svadharma, your natural work. Now what? Well, this is where Krishna's teaching gets really, really interesting. This is where he shows us how to take that work, that job, and turn it into a powerful, even sacred, spiritual practice. And check out this verse. It is so powerful. Krishna says, better is one's own duty, though imperfectly performed, than the duty of another well performed. Wow. I mean, what a call for authenticity, right? He's basically saying it's so much better to be an imperfect you than a perfect copy of someone else. Your path is your path, and just walking it authentically, that's what matters. But what about all the frustrations, the flaws we all see in our work? Well, Krishna has this amazing analogy for that. He says that just like you can never have fire without some smoke, no work in this world is ever going to be perfectly pure. So trying to find some kind of flawless job, that's a fool's errand. The goal isn't to abandon your duty because it's not perfect. The goal is to change how you do it. And this is the secret sauce. This is where the real magic happens. It's not about changing the work itself, but about changing your consciousness while you do it. See, when you perform your natural duty, your Swadharma, not for your own personal gain, but as an offering to the divine, suddenly the work itself becomes a form of worship. All of a sudden, your office, your workshop, your kitchen, it becomes a sacred space. So, if our work on the outside is now a form of worship, what's happening on the inside? That's the next step on this journey. Krishna explains how this outward practice of dedicated work actually kicks off this deep, profound process of inner purification. The ultimate goal here has a name, Naishkarmaya Siddhi. It sounds complicated, but it just means this supreme perfection of freedom from karmic reaction. And you don't get there by stopping your work. No, you get there by giving up your attachment to the results of your work. You do your best, you offer it up, and you completely let go of the outcome. That detachment, that's the key to freedom. And to help us get there, Krishna gives us this super practical checklist of all the mental baggage we need to let go of. We're talking about egoism, that ahankara, arrogance, selfish desires, anger, possessiveness, and that constant nagging sense of mine, mine, mine. He's saying that shedding these things is what actually makes you qualified to experience that higher reality. And this isn't just wishful thinking, right? It's backed up by actual spiritual disciplines. Practices like meditation, taking time for solitude, eating moderately, and really getting control over our mind, our body, and our speech. These are the tools that help us make that inner renunciation a reality. Okay, so now we're reaching the absolute summit of this path. Once that inner purity is there, liberation, well, it blossoms into something even bigger, something incredibly personal and beautiful. And the change that happens is just total. The person who realizes their true spiritual self, who realizes Brahman, is completely transformed. On one hand, you're bound by sorrow and desire. And then, after realization, you're in a state of supreme joy. You're free from desire. You no longer see all these divisions. You look at every single living being with an equal, loving vision. But here's the amazing twist. This state of blissful, impersonal peace, it isn't actually the final stop. According to Krishna, it's the perfect launchpad for something called para bhakti, which is the highest, purest form of a personal, loving devotion to God. You see, it's this devotion, this bhakti, that unlocks the final door. Through it, you don't just understand the divine with your intellect. You actually get to know the divine, to experience that connection. And through that grace, you enter into this eternal relationship. This is the ultimate fulfillment of the entire journey. And just like that, Krishna brings this huge cosmic teaching all the way back down to earth, right back to Arjuna's immediate life or death choice on that battlefield. And the choice is laid out with just stark clarity. Krishna basically says, look, trust in this process and you'll get through everything. But if your ego gets in the way, if you refuse to listen, you will perish. It really all boils down to one single choice. Are you going to surrender to a higher purpose, or are you going to let your own self-will ruin you? And then Krishna delivers this final, just piercing insight. He tells Arjuna, even if you sit here right now and say, I'm not going to fight, your very nature as a warrior, your swadharma, is going to compel you to act eventually. The external action, the fighting, that's almost inevitable. The real battle, the only choice that actually matters, is the one happening inside. Are you going to act from your ego, or are you going to act as a loving offering? And that really leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. Is freedom found in what you do or in how you do it? Because the Gita seems to be telling us that real freedom isn't about changing your job or running away from your life. It's about transforming the consciousness with which you live it. It's about finding the secret right there in your own unique duty.